Minecraft has a lot of cool features that not many people know about. So here are my favorite features that you may not know. First, there's the pick block feature. This is with the middle button on a mouse. You can also rebind it to something else if you're not using a mouse. And basically, this is just picking a block. So in creative mode, whenever you look at any type of block, as long as you can actually look at it, and it has a hitbox, it'll just go into your inventory straight away. And if you put them in your survival inventory, when you click them, it'll just move into your hotbar. This also works in survival mode, just like how I showed, where it will automatically move into your inventory. As you can see, the stone just appeared. You can also use the middle click in creative mode to get stacks of a certain item. And it's essentially duplicating this item, which you can also use it when grabbing items from the inventory. However, there's a really cool feature with this that not many people know about. If you hold the left control button and middle click, you'll actually be able to pick up a certain item, as long as there can be things inside of it, for example a chest or copper chest. Then, basically it will have something called NBT data, which is basically things inside of it. And using a special mod called Shulker Box Tooltips, you can see what's inside of them. So when we place it down, the items will be duplicated inside of them. And of course, when made into a large chest, since it's just 2 chests, they'll duplicate twice in here. And you can even do more things with this. If you write down a book and place it onto a lectern, if you do it, it will not look like there's anything in the lectern. However, you'll get this message, which is, use of this item might lead to command execution. Do not use it unless you know the exact content. And when you place it down, the book will reappear on it. Obviously, this is all in creative mode only, because you can't really duplicate items in survival mode. So as you can see, you can do it with barrels, shelves, and even bookshelves. With chiseled bookshelves, something weird will happen. When you place it down, it will not show anything in it, but when you do break it, or look in your inventory, the books will appear. So this one is a bit weird. And continuing, it also works on dispenser, droppers, and even the furnace, as long as there's something in it, which it will continue smelting. It also works in a jukebox when there's music being played in it, and will also play the music when you place it down. And of course, it will work on hoppers, and it can work on pots too. However, it won't work on the minecart with the chest, minecart with hopper, and ender chest. These are acting as entities, and the ender chest of course won't work. You can also use the pick block feature with mob. By selecting them, you'll be able to basically just get their mob in. And of course, it won't work with things like water because you can't actually look at it. It also works with signs. Because signs contain NBT data, it will automatically be transferred onto another sign. And it even works on commands. Same reasoning like the signs, it will just be transferred over. So it's a really cool feature with this pick block command and makes creative mode a bit easier. Moving on is the desert temple. In the desert temple, we obviously have this secret room, which many people know about. However, there's another secret room which you may not know. If you look around the corners of inside of a desert temple, you'll find some sand. You might think that this is just normal generation, but it's actually a secret. If you eventually take out all the sand, which there might even be some suspicious sand, so it's good if you have a brush, because you'll be able to find some cool items. Eventually, you'll find a secret room. However, this one wasn't too good, so moving to another location and basically breaking all of the sand, which you can really quickly do with torches. Eventually, you'll uncover this secret room, which doesn't really have a purpose except for suspicious sand, but it's still really cool. And I did already try, but there's nothing under it, like you would expect if you broke the blue block, just like in the normal secret. And there also is a specific staircase that you could uncover too. Moving on, there's another really cool feature with spectator mode. If you left click a mob in spectator mode, you'll actually be able to become the mob. You won't be able to control them, but you'll basically be able to see what they're seeing. And there's some Easter eggs with it, like the Enderman, where it will be inverted vision. Spiders will look like this because they have more eyes, and creepers will have green vision. Moving on, most people know this one, but if you name tag a mob, Dinnerbone, or Grum, they'll actually become upside down. And it can even be done to hostile mobs. And it can have some pretty weird effects with when you're riding horses too. And this can work for any mob that can be name tagged. And when you name tag a mob something else, it'll basically go back to normal. Another cool name tag thing is when you type in Jeb_. When you right click sheep, specifically any color of them, they'll turn into a rainbow, which is a really cool feature. While it doesn't do anything, and when you shear them, it'll just give you a normal wool that they were before. Now, if you name a rabbit Toast, it'll have this specific texture. And the last one, which is pretty interesting, is if you name a Vindicator Johnny, they'll basically defeat any mob nearby except for other Vindicators, Evokers, and usual raid mobs. However, surprisingly, it'll actually defeat Ravengers. Moving on, there's another cool trick in Java Edition where if you press left alt and press a random number on the number pad on a keyboard, you'll actually be able to put special symbols, and you can even combine two numbers or more to create other special symbols. And you can even put them on signs. However, on Bedrock Edition, there's a special symbol called the section symbol, which you can copy and paste, and it's down in the description. And when you put it and put a different number beside it, it will change the color of it. So instead of having to use dye to color it, you can just use this symbol. As you can see, moving through the colors, there's all these different colors. You can also do different letters, and there'll also be different colors. However, there's some specific letters that do special things. For example, if you press K, it will do this. You'll have this weird text. And also you can combine multiple different section signs and to change the color of this weird text too. You can also do L, which will bold it, or O, which will italicize it. And you can also combine different ones and even use a glow ink stack on it. You can also do this in chat, which is really cool. As you can see, you can just color something and even do this type of text. And of course, lastly with it, you can put it in books too, which is really interesting. This next one involves maps. As you know, with a map, you can actually see around you. And of course, you can even put it on an item frame to basically map your world. However, if you're thinking that the map is really small, there's actually a way to change it. If you get a cartography table, you can actually put paper in the second slot and your map in the first slot and make it bigger. As you can see, this area that we already explored, we can explore more of it and it will basically just zoom out. And comparing it to the first one, definitely it is more zoomed out. You can do this a few different times and just keep zooming out up until a certain point because you can't really have your whole entire world on one map. And as you can see, this is really far out. And this is actually the max that you can do, and it's really interesting because you can have some pretty big map areas now. And also you can put a map that's already been used with an empty map to duplicate it. And another feature with the cartography table is if you put glass in the second slot, you can actually lock a map so that you basically can't update it anymore. Now this next one is also with map. If you place down a banner and right click it with a map, it will actually pop up on your map. This may seem fake, but it's actually true, and it's like those mods with these specific locations. As you can see, we can place different types of banner colors and mark locations even with a very spread out map. However, if you think that you'll get confused with which one is which, you can actually name them. So if we name this one base and right click it, it will actually highlight base on it, which is really cool when marking out your world. However, if there's one off the map, it will not work. And of course, you can place it down to have a full map of your world with labels. This next one is really cool. If you get rails, normal or powered rails, as you know, you'll be able to place a minecart and it will go as long as it's powered. But if you have an area under it and place soul sand at the end of the rail, something interesting happens. As you know, soul sand is not a full block. As you can see, you dip into it. And normally nothing would happen, but if you break the bottom block under the soul sand and place a rail there, and then connect the rail to wherever you want, something interesting will happen when you send the minecart. As you can see, somehow you just go into the bottom. This works because the minecart thinks that that's the other rail that it's going to go to. So with soul sand, because it's not a full block, it'll just go right through it, into the rail under it. And it also works on mud. As you can see, when you walk on it, you'll just dip down, and you'll still go through. This also makes something else work. If you place a hopper right under mud or soul sand, you'll actually be able to throw anything on it and it will be sucked up. Sort of like how a minecart hopper works, where it can pick things up through the block, but instead you just need a normal hopper for this. This is of course once again because it's not a full block. This next one is really cool. If you place some leaves, then you can place an observer anywhere on the leaves. And we'll just use the copper bulb to indicate something. And if you use some scaffolding blocks quickly and place a piston down, you can then place any type of log, and when you flick the lever, it will actually send a signal. This works because the leaves are now detecting that the log is now connected, meaning that it's somewhat connected to a tree. As you can see, if we flick it again, it will basically observe that there's going to be a change through it. So this can work as a wireless redstone, and like redstone, it doesn't go for too long. So there is a limit to how much blocks you can place. It's roughly about 7 blocks that you can go to. And of course you can use any log, no matter the leaf type. Moving on, this one is a pretty small one, but if you place the pressure plate any type, and then you put rockets on it, it will actually activate it, making it sort of like a button where you can press it, but you do need a lot of rockets for it. And it's a pretty small one, and it doesn't really have too much uses, but it's still cool. So those are some of the best features that not many people know about in Minecraft. Let us know which ones did you not know about, and which ones are your favorite. So make sure to subscribe.